Hi, I'm Danny, and today I will be doing the Taylor Swift book tag. First one is We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. This is a book or series that you thought in the beginning that you loved, but by the end you wanted to break up with. That would have to be Happy Hour at Casa Dracula by Maria Costa. See, it's throwing my white balance completely off. In the beginning of this book, I really thought I was going to love it. The concept was a bit weird, but I truly thought I would love it. But by the end of the book, I was just like, why did I even get together with you? This just is not working out. We're done. Second one is Red. Find a book with a red cover, and as you can see, I don't have very many red books. This is red. Next is The Best Day, a book that makes you feel nostalgic for the old days, and that is Sex and the Single Vampire by Kate McAllister. This book was the book that got me started reading. It was a gift from my mother, and it just kind of sat in the corner of my room for like a year, and then finally I decided one day I was so bored I might as well pick it up. And then it's just been the never-ending cycle of books ever since. Number 4 is Love Story. Choose a book with forbidden love. No Rest for the Wicked by Christy Cole. This is about a Valkyrie who ends up being a bride to a vampire, which is basically an eternal wife, as gives the hint by the name. And she hates vampires because a vampire that she spared from killing supposedly killed her 2 sisters like 1,000 years ago in some sort of war. And so she ends up falling in love with a vampire. So definitely kind of forbidden there, especially since her people who are Valkyries hate vampires. Number 5 is I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In. Villain that you love to hate and hate to love. And I would have to go with Sebastian Morgenstern from the Mortal Instruments series. Now if you've read this series, you know why Sebastian is easy to hate, but at the same time you kind of love to hate him. I gotta say he is definitely one of my favorite villains though, especially with the, well, I'm not gonna get into any spoilers, so if you have not read the series, I definitely recommend that you read it. Number 1 is not quite my favorite, neither is number 2, but everything from number 3 and on I loved, absolutely loved. Next is A Teardrops on My Guitar, a book that made you cry. The Mark of the Vampire Queen by Joey W. Hill. This book, I did not expect it. I mean, I had been reading a few years before I got to this book, about a year maybe, before I got to this book, and no book had even made me slightly tear up. But this one made me cry. My mother walked in and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I tried to tell her and she just kind of rolled her eyes and walked out of the room on me. Next is Shake It Off, a book or series that other people hated but that you loved and you don't care because you just shake off their hatred. And that is Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer. I loved this book. I know a lot of people found it kind of a letdown, especially when the rumors of the war started going around, but all I was truly expecting was for Bella to be a vampire and experience her vampire life and maybe start school. So unfortunately they didn't start school, and I expected maybe like a glimpse of like 100 years in the future or something when Bella finally got a hold on her thirst. But I loved everything about this book. Yes, it is an audiobook. I got it for Christmas and this is what my mom got me. But I don't need the hardcover because I've got the other book. But I love this book and I don't care if other people hated it. Number 12 is Stay, 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 a book or series you wish would go on forever. And I would have to go with, again, A Hunger Like No Other by Christy Cole. I so want to see what happens after the end of this book. I mean, you get little glimpses of what happens in their life in the books later on in this series, but it's not actually about them. I want to see, you know, like Emma coming in and being queen and, you know, like maybe coronation and crowning, and I want to see all of that, but unfortunately you don't get it. So I wish that she would come out with another book just about these characters, because innocence, and that is a book that someone spoiled for you, and I would have to go with Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And I know a lot of people are confused whether it's Moss or Maas, but I just watched an interview of her with, I think it was Jessie the Reader, where she confirmed that her name is pronounced Maas, not Moss. And that would have to be the end of this book, what happens with Selena and the prince. I had just heard of the book series and I was watching someone's non-spoiler review on it, and they mentioned what happens between her and the prince at the end. So unfortunately, going into this book, I knew how that would end, so sad. I'm sad about that, but I'm still definitely looking forward this series. Number 8 is You Would Belong With Me. Pick a book that you cannot wait to get your hands on, or that has not been released yet that you are looking forward to reading. Now, I've been putting this video off. I saw it and I knew the exact book. I could not wait to come out, but unfortunately I put it off so long that that book actually did come out. And that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. But since I waited so long, this book actually did come out. So I'm actually going to pick Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series. Or it might be the 4th book. The prequel of the Assassin's Blade, I'm not sure if that's considered book 4 or book 5, but either way, that book. Next is Forever and Always. Pick your favorite ship. Now this one is actually kind of a tie because I honestly could not pick. It is either Clary and Jace from the Mortal Instruments series or Bella and Edward from the Twilight series. I don't know which. I love them both. And I think they will both always be my favorite ship. I can't pick. I can't. Number 10 is Come Back, Be Here, a book that you will not lend out. I can't say I'd honestly lend out any of my books. I mean, my roommate sometimes borrows my books, but she's literally right next door, so I can just go get my book anytime I want it. Number 7 is Everything Has Changed, and that is a book with major character development. And I would have to go with Emma from A Hunger Like No Other by Chrisley Cole. Now, Emma is very skittish at the beginning of this book. She kind of goes from being afraid of any supernatural creature that she hasn't known her entire life, like her family and some of her witch friends. And by the end of this book, after everything she's put through, she goes from being skittish to I'll kick your butt if you look at me wrong. Last but not least is All Too Well, a book or series that you wish was longer, and I would have to go with The Guardians of the Night. It's a duology, but it was supposed to be like a 4 or 5 book series, and unfortunately we never even got book 3. And if it is out, I can't find it anywhere. Well, that is my Taylor Swift book tag, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!